All right. What up, dude? It's been a while.
Yeah, man. What you been up to?
Uh, Dealing with my landlord turning into a complete dipshit that can go fuck himself.
What happened with that?
You want to know?
Yeah, I mean, it sounds interesting.
There's been a number of things. He and his wife. His wife is my wife's business partner, and there's a third girl from Thailand. Her husband is very cool, and he does all the business stuff for them. He's like communicates with the landlord, helps them with all the legal paperwork, design their menu. He's a graphic designer, and
cool.
they are sick of my landlord and his wife. They're fucking sick. Everybody hates him. They call him small brain, and they're nice people. They're genuinely sick. My wife is nice. She says they are shit people, and it never got to me yet because I'm on the out.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And anytime I see my landlord around, so his wife stole beef from the restaurant. They were going camping, and she didn't have enough meat. And the third girl with the cool husband, she noticed something was off because, like, I don't want to say her name, but she was basically cutting. You know, you cut cocaine with other stuff. She was doing that with her beef, but with beef from the restaurant. She confronted her and she was like, "What are you doing?" She was like, "Oh, I didn't have enough." She's like, "Just ask." Fucking. And then her husband came to me and my landlord and was like, "Hey, do you know anything about what happened?" And I do, but I don't want anything to do with it. So I said no. I said, "Nah, I don't know. I don't know nothing." But I did. I know everything. And she's an alcoholic. She's like showing up hungover. She's not doing all of her work. They had to go in on their day off to do stuff she should have did. They're having to have talks with her. And she's like, "I'm gonna do better." Like, they're just toxic pieces of shit at this point, and that's their words. Like, pieces of fucking shit. And my wife is real nice, and she's at a point where the only way she can describe them is as shit people. They're shit people. So I can't do laundry on the weekends because he does laundry for his wife, and my wife and his wife have the same schedule. So it's like, okay, I guess I can't do the laundry for my wife on her day off, but you can. So whatever. So I stopped doing laundry on the weekends, despite having shit tons to do. I just let it sit there, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I washed some blankets last week, and I left them in the washer. It's like, I don't feel like going to rotate them. I'm busy. Left them in there. I get a text message the next day, and he says, "Hey, can you come get your stuff out of the washer? Can you not leave your stuff in there? I have to do laundry during the week too. And can you drain the washer? Because we have to drain it at the bottom because the water stays and it'll freeze and it's starting to get cold." But I looked at the weather and I knew it wasn't freezing. Like, I know. I fucking know, dude.
Yeah.
So I didn't say anything, even though that was irritating. Just put it in the dryer and move the fuck on. How many times have we been roommates and shit, and like, you go and you just put it in the dryer?
Yeah, just move it over.
Nobody ever fucking complains ever. Just rotate it and move the fuck on, you bitch.
Right.
So I go in there and my stuff's in the basket wet.
Getting all moldy and smelly now.
Yeah. So I text him and I'm like, "Thanks for not putting it in the dryer for me." And the only reason I'm starting to push back is because there are many things before this that's about to come up. And he says, "I have my own laundry to do. I don't want to do yours too." So that's when I said, okay, considering that your truck is in the way when I try to haul my piss and shit across the yard, because I got to drain my septic into a 35-gallon septic tote tank and roll it across the yard every couple days. That's what I've been doing the last couple of years. Considering that your truck was in the way and I never said anything, and you're always harping on me about using less electricity because my AC was running in the summertime. Like, he's got rage underneath, and he's always like correcting you for shit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And you're always harping on me about using my AC less and the heat tapes that keep my shit warm. my propane tanks and stuff. They were plugged on in the summertime, but they don't turn on because they're triggered by a fucking thermostat.
Right.
And I'm like, and you're always harping on me about the heat tapes that aren't even on. I figured it wouldn't be much to ask just to toss it in the dryer for me instead of a passive aggressive screw you, leaving it in the basket. So like 2 days pass and he messages back, hey, I've been thinking about the comments you made. And he goes on this long message and he misunderstood everything. So it became this conversation where I have to unpack what he got wrong every step of the way. Because I also told him, like, my trailer, by definition of it running off of a 30 amp plug, the whole thing doesn't use more electricity than a dryer. Because a dryer runs off of a 30 amp plug.
Right.
So, for example, he said, my dryer runs off of 15 amp. It's gas. So your trailer does use more electricity than my dryer. And I was going on this big message explaining, like I said, a dryer, not your dryer. Regardless, you know what I'm saying? Like, and he said, and you're also using a 20 amp plug because there's a plug you put under there for me. And that's what I'm running my AC on in the summertime because my actual AC doesn't work. I have to have this little unit that doesn't even cool off the whole thing, my whole trailer. I literally can't run a toaster at the same time because it'll trip my whole trailer.
Holy shit.
But he's coming at me like I need to use less electricity, telling me I got the first year for free, and he's like raising the price because of this and that. So whenever he made that disrespectful comment about doing my laundry, and I take his stuff out the dryer all the time during the week. You know what I'm saying? Like the weekends for you, motherfucker. And Ford even takes it out the dryer too, which is on Monday after he's already done all their laundry. So why the fuck is your stuff still in the dryer?
Right.
And she folds their clothes when she does that. You know what I'm saying? So who's doing whose laundry?
Shit.
He's a goddamn fat fucking piece of shit. So then he tapes the Excel energy spreadsheet breakdown that he printed out. He went to his computer, went to Excel.com, got the thing, printed it out, taped it to my door, and the tape is stuck to my door. I asked him today. This is why I'm pissed off right now. I asked him today, do you have some Gooby Gone so I can get off the tape that you put on my door? He said, yep. He brought it over and said, you'll probably need some razor blades too. And he walked off. Didn't apologize, didn't acknowledge. So now I'm fuming because that confrontation we had the other day, I saw where this was going. And I don't want that energy at my home. So the only road I could take was just to be like, take the high road. Be like, okay, I'm sorry. I misunderstood you, which I didn't. He was a fucking asshole. Maybe I could be more punctual about taking my stuff out the dryer and shit, like, you know what I'm saying? Just to diffuse it.
Did you do that?
That's what I did. And he screenshotted the text message, but not the whole thing. And Ford told me he does this. He screenshots parts of text messages and sends them to his wife or people to like let them know. But he doesn't show that. So that's what he did. He sent it to his wife. And then his wife showed my wife and Doug's wife at work. And they all had my back because they fucking hate them.
God.
And they were like, what? They all defended me and said that I did the right thing. So that made me feel better because they all know that I did the right thing.
Yeah, he's a piece of shit.
Yeah, they actually call him Small Brain. He brought a brand new truck, put tires and rims on it, running boards, brand new Dodge, tinted the windows, and put a Denver, Colorado, like a Colorado logo on the back over the Dodge thing. Refinanced this fucking house to pay it off.
What?
Do what you want to do with your money, but he's making these super dumb financial decisions.
Yeah,
He bought a $3,000 electric bike he still hasn't rode because it got too cold. It's like, dude, you bought it in fucking spring. You're from Denver. You know what the weather's about to do. You fucking dumb fat fuck.
How old is this guy?
50. And he's got a kid. And he yells at his kid so loud all the time. I hear what he's saying inside his house. He's a raging fucking lunatic. This is who I'm dealing with. This is why I internalized it, took the high road, and just moved on. But I hate doing that because my whole life I've been too nice, and I've done that on accident. So now I have to do it on purpose just to like let this thing go. You know what I'm saying?
Probably better for the peace.
Yeah, without being on that. But
yeah, I get it. That dude's a prick, and he.
So we're moving out at the end of the month.
He didn't deserve. Well, that's good. I was about to ask if you had the option to actually get the fuck out of there.
We went in an apartment shop, but we got denied for this nice condo because I have a car repo. So we're going back to my old apartment that they don't check that kind of shit. So we would have been out right now, and my trailer would be in a storage somewhere. And but like, here's where I'm at right now. Is I'm thinking like when I got my laundry out of my dryer that day. The washer was going, and my heart was racing because I was about to turn the washer off. You know what I'm saying? Like that's where I'm at right now. It's like, how can I just put this negative energy back on who gave it to me? You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, but then it's gonna escalate because then you get a text message from him later on, like, "Hey, did you stop the washer? My clothes are half washed. I know you were in there." I know you were in there because your clothes were in the dryer.
Yeah, that's why I didn't do it.
And then you send some smart ass comment back, and then it just escalates and escalates. And now you got this fucking prick taping more shit to your door. Anyway.
Yeah, and just to wrap it up, yeah, we're moving out. We're getting an apartment, and I'm at a point where I'm like, maybe I should like let my dogs poo on his side of the yard and not pick it up and just like let it go. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'd maybe do that. Oh, I didn't notice. Sorry.
Yeah, and just like not pick it up.
Yeah.
And then also I'm thinking he wants me to pay him the rent in cash because they're tracking Venmo, even though I've split the payment, so it's not over 600.
Oh God!
But he's like, so now I got to go to the fucking ATM and get cash, and I still haven't paid my rent. I have until the 5th. We moved in on the 7th or the 6th, and he told me, okay, rent's due 1st through the 5th, and he didn't prorate me those 5 days. He just like 1st through the 5th because small brain. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So right now I'm waiting until like the 5th to pay him, and I'm torn because what am I gonna do? Am I gonna send him Venmo? Be like, well, whatever. Like he doesn't want.
Just Venmo it all 600 too, just one chunk.
Yeah. Or am I gonna get cash, put it in an envelope, and go tape it to his door, like fucking tape the fuck out of it?
Oh, that might be a better way. And just use, man. You ever fuck with that double-sided tape, that 3M shit?
No.
It's horrible. We use it at work. And
like on the back of the envelope and just stick it?
No, I'd have to. Oh, man, I wish I could mail you some in time.
That's what I should do is double
because that shit does not come off. You got a Goo Gone and alcohol. Why it's horrible. Anyway,
okay.
That would have been the way to go.
Noted. Oh, so at the end of whenever I like took the high road and like I thought about it for hours and I was cleaning my car. Because Mason, my dog, threw up in my car because I got home and had to go tour an apartment, but I didn't want to be there longer than I had to give Mason his car sickness medicine. So that's why he threw up in my car and had to detail it because I was trying to just stay away from this guy. So like I'm having to deal with all these like leftover consequences of just
this fucking guy.
I'm detailing my car. I spent like $80 on shit that day that I shouldn't have had to spend. So I'm thinking the whole time of how I'm going to respond. And I typed out a lot of long messages trying to unpack everything he got wrong.
Yeah, but it's just going to keep escalating.
Yeah, that's why I deleted him and I was like...
It's not worth the energy, dude.
Thank you. I feel better. Thank you. Exactly.
It's really not.
So whenever I texted the whole thing of like, all right, keep it cool, whatever, you know what he messaged back?
What?
I forgot who the comedian. It was a GIF, a GIF. But who's that guy on that comedy movie who's like the Evil Knievel, the dirt bike? I like to party. No, I like to party. No, my name's Dave, and I like to party.
I don't know.
You know what I'm talking. You've seen the movie.
I probably have to see. Yeah, maybe.
But
Andy, whatever.
Sandberg.
Andy Sandberg.
Yeah, a GIF of Andy Samberg saying "cool beans" at 50 years old. Never acknowledge. He didn't even say, "All right, well, I'm sorry if I appeared to come off like an asshole." because I made it
just
clear.
no sort
Nothing.
of mutual respect whatsoever in the
Exactly.
Dude,
Nothing.
He can
And
fuck
one of
himself.
the other things he did last week was my wife just got her own car. So now we're both parking up by the road.
Mhm.
When we got home that night, we rehearsed. Like, let's make sure we both know where to park to leave space on the driveway. So that's where I parked and then she parked. So like we're good. But he comes out, he's working on his truck and he comes out like shaking. Right when I get home, he's like waiting for me. I could tell he's shaking with rage. Again, because
just vibrating.
yeah, and he was like, "Hey, and he didn't refer to my wife.
His adrenaline's pumping as he's going to have this conversation. He's been thinking about it for hours. His adrenaline's fucking pumping.
1,000%
through the veins.
1,000%.
Yeah, I can't wait to get my hands on this motherfucker.
Yeah, and so he says, "Hey, he referred to Ford as your wife, not Ford, your wife." Which was like disrespectful in its own way.
Right.
Like, tell your wife to pull up more because she's like 3 feet in the driveway. And I think you misjudged like how big her car is, but just tell your wife to pull up more. And I'm thinking, her name is Ford, and we rehearsed this. She's not parked in the driveway. But I was just like, okay, yeah, no problem. Okay, yeah. All right, yeah. And he keeps like, and I'm like, okay. And I tell Ford, and she's like, I check every night. I'm never in the driveway. But he said 3 feet in the driveway. And even then at work, they all clapped back at her, his wife, because she can't leave if she's 3 feet in the driveway. So that was another thing I was like trying to text, like, oh, and her name's Ford, not your wife. And she was never in the fucking driveway. So he comes out raging. Like, it's all these things all the time. He like multiple times explained how an AC works to me just to let me know to cut back on electricity.
Okay, dude.
Yeah, so enough about this shit, but that's literally where I'm at now.
That's so your life has been living with this hellacious landlord.
Hellacious up and yeah, basically. So I'm talking about it because like an hour ago that tape thing happened, and I've been like washing
Just
dishes.
fuming. Yeah,
I'm
just
fuming
fuming about it. But don't escalate it, dude. It's not worth it. Throw that shit away. Your energy will be wasted on that.
I'm gonna get some double-sided tape and just smack it to his door.
Stick it all over his fucking new truck.
Oh, and do laundry on the weekends now. That's not like on Saturday. I'm just gonna go in there and smack it to the door and
double side tape the dryer and the washer shut.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah. All right. So sorry to start the episode off getting everybody pissed off about shitty land. But we're about to move into an apartment.
Hey, it's relatable. So shitty landlords, everyone's had one at one point.
I'm just not looking forward to having a bunch of shitty apartment neighbors again because I know how they are at this place.
Oh man.
My last neighbor.
That sucks.
Yeah, but like I really appreciate normal home amenities at this point. Just having space in the kitchen, not having to drain tanks, not having to think, okay, how long can my shower be tonight? Because it's snowing. Like tonight it's snowing, it's 30 degrees. So like,
oh, fuck.
Do I want to shower tonight and risk having, because many times I go to bed and then I smell that sulfur smell of the gray tank and I got to wake up in my underwear, like get dressed and go drain the tank and then get back in bed. It's like all these little things I just really took for granted living in a
normal house.
Yeah. And we're getting a 2-bedroom, so I'm going to have my own room with my own setup.
Podcast and do shit in.
Yeah. I don't know about drums, if I can soundproof it. The 2-bedroom.
Apartments are not ideal for drums.
They have some good products. Audimute has some good soundproofing products that I think will do good if they have like that 6.4 millimeter soundproof stuff that you put whenever you soundproof a wall and build over it. So I think if I did enough, I could like put it on my walls and then put the sheets. But it'll be like $1,000, a lot of work, and I won't know that it'll work.
Yeah, you might still get the cops caught on you.
Exactly. Or be that guy. I don't want to be that guy.
I think the best thing is to find an off-site place to play your drums.
There's an off-site place, but their prices are I can do it. It's like $64 for 4 hours, and I can go in and practice at home, and then
Sucks.
yeah, it's like fuck.
What the fuck, man? That's the bad part about living in a city.
Yeah. So I don't know. And I
We
miss
gotta
Bellingham. I want to go back to Bellingham, but I got this kick-ass dog walking business that's doing
boom.
awesome. So yeah, I'm getting like more
Would Ford
clients and
move to
shit.
Bellingham with you?
She moved there. That's where we met.
So she's down with Bellingham.
Yeah. But I just don't want to leave my business and my clients. All these hot, super hot, rich trophy wives I get to see all the time. So fine. So
With their
hot.
cute dogs.
Yeah. Cute dogs and their fucking butts. So let's get into it, man. We got some election stuff to talk about. We got these. Let me go turn the heater down.
All right.
1 second.
All right.
Oh, check out my new work hoodies, dude. Can you see that?
Kinda. No, the green screen took over.
Got my little logo. Could you see the back all right?
Yeah. What did it say?
My Pa's Pup Service with my number and email.
Oh, fuck yeah.
It's pretty sweet. Heat transfer. It's not screen print. It's heat transfer. That little waffle maker.
Mm-hmm.
And it prints the rubber on your shirt.
It's like an iron-on kind of, but not really.
It's the official high-level iron-on. Like I made the artwork, and then the guy who does all the shit for the business, the nice guy, he also makes electronic music. His name is Ilkhausen. It's really good. He's super cool. We're like actual friends.
That's awesome.
He's a graphic designer, and he put it all in a gang sheet for me and like made it. So I just had to upload it instead of using the website built-in shit. He was like, he did like the measure thing on on his screen and like optimized how much I can fit on one. So I got all these prints and I got some more hoodies and shirts, and I went over and made them. I want to do it for like, we can make badass merch, dude, because you can do like high level designs, order the prints and just.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, like full color and shit. I actually have a picture. I have a big picture with that design over the picture on some of my shirts. It's like a real gaudy hip hop looking picture.
Like takes up the whole front half of the T like that.
It's an 11 by 11 square, full color. I'm edited, like I put contrast and all that shit on the picture with the thing over it. It's badass. So we could do like Skepsis Telegraph. Boom, tag it, Skepsis Telegraph here with the big thing on the back.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
You need some tight right medium ones too.
Yes, dude. All this stuff. So let's get into it, man. Herschel Walker and Stacey Abrams. You want to talk about that first?
Full disclosure, I didn't dig into that one that much. I just was asking if you wanted to, but did you do some digging on that? I've been seeing all the shit in the media, like coming about with Herschel Walker, all these women coming out saying that he fucking basically coerced them into having abortions because they were like getting
Herschel Walker
up on these. Yeah.
Oh, I did see that. He had
a lot like 2 or 3 of them came out.
Yeah, a lot of. Okay, yeah. See, that's.
And like he's super anti-abortion, which is kind of
holy shit, dude. We've already been going for 30 minutes.
Yeah, boy.
God damn. I think a lot of people tuned out. But yeah, I saw that. My first thought is, what's up with all these celebrities getting into politics all of a sudden?
Right.
We're fucked.
Herschel Walker.
Fucked. Yeah, Herschel Walker fought MMA in 2010 for Strikeforce.
Yeah, you could tell he has fucking brain damage.
Yeah, dude's 52 states. That's what he said. There's 50. He told Stacey Abrams, if you hate Georgia, because she talked shit about Georgia real bad, she said it's the worst state ever or something. And then he said, why don't you just go to one of the other 52 states? And then the spokesperson,
I love this shit, man.
The spokesperson for him said, He obviously knows there's 50 states. He misspoke. And then they even covered it and said,
They said when referring to like the U.S. Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico,
District of
with those states,
Columbia.
with those states included, it's 52. It's like, all
Yeah.
right, bitch. No, he fucked up.
yeah. As it said, like, who knows? That could be a
That's
state.
CTE coming into play right there, baby.
Hey, I'll be honest, though. When I saw that, I was like, fuck, how many states do we have?
You're like,
What is-
have we conquered more countries and turned it into states yet?
What is 52, though? Is that the number of presidents we've had? Like, what is 52? I feel like
don't know.
52
I think
is
he
something.
just pulled that out of his ass.
But I feel like 52 is something. 52 something.
Maybe he really did mean all like the Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico. Like he included the territories.
But do we have 52 stars
No.
on the flag?
No, we
Oh,
don't.
Man, fuck. See, I can talk shit, though, because I'm not running for office. All right.
We're morons with a fucking podcast. Everyone has one of these. Who cares?
Yeah, so that's Herschel Walker. And Stacey Abrams, I was looking into her. I was trying to find just an interview or a debate or anything on YouTube, and all I can find, YouTube floods me with MSNBC, CNN, all the mainstream shit, nothing of her talking. It's all other people talking about what she said. And it's like, it's almost like they don't want you to. I found one video finally, but it's like almost like they don't want you to see her talking.
Always. Well, no, she definitely talks. Like she goes on a lot of those fucking morning shows and shit, like The Talk and The View and shit like that. She goes on all those fucking shows.
I'll be honest, I didn't like her right when I saw her,
dude.
And she just seems like another far lefty who's gonna talk about right wing conspiracists and this and that.
Oh, she definitely does that.
Yeah.
That's her MO. But
yeah. Which we'll get into David DePape,
but-
the guy who attacked Pelosi later. Speaking of all that.
But yeah, that was that. So that race is interesting. There's another one.
John Fetterman.
John Fetterman and Dr. Oz. Let's just play a little bit of this debate. I have it pulled up. Let's share it. Hold on.
Yeah, this is fucking amazing, dude.
All right, let's just.
I hope you play the fracking clip.
Oh God, that is hilarious, dude. Oh my God, how funny was that?
I stand for Pennsylvania values, and I'm proud of it.
Live from the ABC
All right, we
27
have to find
studios
the
in
fracking
Harrisburg,
clip.
this is the Pennsylvania U.S.
You can hear that?
Yeah, I
to
can
be
hear it.
strict with Pennsylvania. We
Explain in 60 seconds.
You know, what I support,
I think it's a
All right, sorry guys.
Pennsylvania.
Bear with
you
me,
run into
guys.
people in Washington. You got to
I should have had
You'll
this
live-
queued up.
be
You
able
can
to
edit
build
this
wealth,
out, right?
similar to what they've been able
Yeah,
to
it's all right. I'll leave it.
Pending health study results.
Yeah,
Oh,
let
here
this
we
go.
go.
direct patients to do.
Perfect.
Thank you. Mr. Fetterman, he accused you of socialized medicine, supporting socialized medicine. What is your response?
again, it's the Oz rule. He's on TV and he's lying. I never supported any of that thing. You know, he keeps talking about Bernie Sanders. You know, 3 years ago he was on his show and he hugged him and he said, "I love this guy." You know what? Why don't you pretend that you live in Vermont instead of Pennsylvania and run against Bernie Sanders? Because all you can do is talk about Bernie Sanders. Because my truth is that healthcare is a basic fundamental right. And I believe in expanding that, and I believe about fighting for health care, the kind of health care that saved my life.
Thank
Dennis,
you very
that was
much.
dishonest.
probably one of the
He
most
explicitly
coherent-
supported socialized
Mr. Oz,
medicine.
we have a
Bernie
lot of
Sanders.
topics to get to.
Debate, ironically
Lisa, you
enough.
go ahead.
We are going to move on to the next
You actually
topic, and
sounded
this has come
coherent
up
right there.
earlier, and that is the issue of fracking.
Yes.
Pennsylvania only trails Texas in terms of natural gas production. Both of you have taken shifting positions on the issue of fracking. Mr. Oz, we begin with you. You wrote a column in 2014 calling for no fracking pending health study results. But in a video posted on social media in March, you said, quote, "Natural gas guarantees high-paying skilled jobs right here in Pennsylvania, so back off Biden, give us freedom to frack." Mr. Oz, please explain that changing position. 60 seconds.
I've been very consistent. Fracking has been demonstrated.
No, you
It's a very
haven't.
old technology to be safe. It is a lifeline for this Commonwealth to be able to build wealth, similar to what they've been able to achieve in other states. For that reason, I strongly support fracking, drilling, the piping of that natural gas. In fact, I'd build a facility even in Philadelphia so we can export it to our allies and help them, the ones that are struggling now in Eastern and Western Europe because of the Ukrainian war. John Fetterman calls fracking a stain on Pennsylvania. He says that he would sign a moratorium to to ban its continued use. He's against pipelines. He voted or supported the vote against the Keystone pipeline that ended up shutting it down. He supports Biden's desire to ban fracking on public lands, which are our lands, all of our lands together. This is a extreme position on energy. If we unleashed our energy here in Pennsylvania, it would help everybody. Why John Fetterman is so rigidly stuck on fighting against energy companies is stunning to me, because it's the jobs I want. Tens of thousands of high-paying jobs to help Pennsylvanians.
Thank you, Mr. Oz.
Oz rule.
Mr. Fetterman, 15
I
seconds.
absolutely support fracking. In fact, I live across the street from a steel mill, and they were going to frack to create their own energy in order to make them more competitive. And I support that. Living closer to anybody else in Pennsylvania for fracking to myself. I believe that we need independence with energy, and I believe I've walked that line my entire career. I believe Democrats...
Mr. Fetterman, I do have a specific question which you can continue on this topic, but you have made two conflicting statements regarding fracking. In a 2018 interview, you said, quote, "I don't support fracking at all. I never have." But earlier this month, you told an interviewer, quote, "I support fracking. I support the energy independence that we should have here in the United States." So, Mr. Fetterman, please explain your changing position. 60 seconds.
I've always supported fracking, and I always believe that independence with our energy is critical, and we can't be held, ransom to somebody like Russia. I've always believed that energy independence is critical, and I've always believed that, and I do support fracking. I've never taken any money from their industry, but I support how critical it is that we produce our own energy and create energy independence.
I must correct the record.
Just a second, Mr. Oz. I do want to clarify something. You're saying tonight that you support fracking, that you've always supported fracking, but there is that 2018 interview that you said, quote, "I don't support fracking at all." So how do you square the two?
I do support fracking, and I support fracking, and I stand, and I do support fracking.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Fetterman.
But Oz did the same shit, though, to be fair. He didn't do it. He didn't stumble as bad. But like Oz was like, I always supported fracking. He just goes like, dude, they just fucking showed a quote from a fucking interview where you said you didn't support fracking. What the fuck are you talking about?
I read that he was waiting on the
politics is so crazy, man. These people are just fucking liars. They're just whatever. Which way is the wind blowing? That's how all this shit goes,
dude. Let me
Hey, we got one, it's gonna kill us in a minute.
Yeah,
let me a minute. So let's just send me another link. We'll restart real quick.
Okay. He makes this Tinder reference right here, and it's fucking amazing.
Pennsylvania. And let's also talk about the elephant in the room. I had a stroke. He's never let me forget that. And I might miss some words during this debate, mush two words together, but it knocked me down, but I'm going to keep coming back up.
I'm running for the U.S. Senate because Washington keeps getting it wrong with extreme positions. John Fetterman takes everything to an extreme, and those extreme positions hurt us all.
We'll continue on with a follow-up question to you, Mr. Oz. This one is just for...
What we have to do is ensure that we don't have increased inflation, and the best way to do that is reduce gas prices. John Fetterman has gone after the energy industry, called it a stain on Pennsylvania.
He has never met an oil company that he doesn't swipe right about.
There should not be involved.
Wow.
Dude,
that's
a red flag if anybody in the Senate knows about how Tinder works. Dude,
no, that's a clear. I want to try to appeal to the younger audience, so I'm gonna just use an opportunity to sneak that in there where I can.
Yeah, dude, isn't that wild? He swipes
this
right.
whole thing with politics is wild, man. To watch these debates and the moderators will show that hey, you clearly said XYZ, and they'll just be like, well, no, I never said that. And they show a quote from an interview they did a year ago or 2 years ago. They just lie through their fucking teeth all the time. It's amazing.
fucking
And
amazing.
and I feel after watching that whole thing, like, first of all, what the fuck is the DNC in Pennsylvania doing, putting that poor guy up after he had a stroke like that, where that dude is clearly cognitively compromised. If anyone, the guy, like, I know we probably showed you some of the better parts of that Fetterman debate right there with him responding to those questions, but go watch the whole fucking debate. Go watch the whole hour of it. That poor guy should not be put under the stress of running for office. I feel bad for him as a human being. Like, it's a fucked up thing to do that the Democratic Party's putting this dude up there like that. I don't know. And then the poor people of Pennsylvania, you have this fucking guy to choose from, or Dr. Oz. Like, okay.
Yeah, Dr. Oz was
Come on, man.
Obviously,
like, that's the two choices that we have for this, for a key Senate seat, to make decisions about our country. Like, get the fuck out of here.
Crazy. I mean, hopefully there's people out there listening that share opposite viewpoints.
Yeah.
But I will say, based on my viewpoints, and many reliable journalists and researchers, Dr. Oz was such an obvious arm of propaganda that just lied and perpetuated the mainstream narrative during the pandemic. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I remember seeing clips of him just spewing shit. So for me, I mean, regardless of that, why the fuck is he... There should be like a rule. Like, if you're a celebrity, or if like more than 80% of your income has come from entertainment, being on TV, you can't be a politician. You know what I'm saying?
Dude, that might not be a bad fucking rule. You know what I mean?
Saying? Like
you're gonna automatically win the popularity contest, and you have no credentials to actually manage a large population of people.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you don't have... man,
it's fucking crazy. John Fetterman reminds me, and I've worked with a guy like this back when I did construction in Austin. I remember this guy's name, Steven something. He was a simple-minded man. And I'm not trying to make fun of Fetterman. He had a stroke, so he has like an issue.
Yeah.
But he reminds me of a quiet guy that you would work with, like a construction, quiet and nice. And then one day when he sees the boss's hot wife, he talks the most you've ever heard because he just can't get over her big juicy titties he wants to suck on. Like, you're like, oh fuck, John, relax, bro.
What?
This is weird. Like,
what?
Doing construction, you work with guys like this that they're weird. They get weird at this one point.
Okay.
Like
I haven't worked construction jobs like that.
Like oil field. Like, there's guys like him in that industry. I don't want to judge him. I'm just saying it seems like it. That's what he reminds me of, is one of these guys that I would work with, where like he's nice and quiet, but he's hiding something. And then one day you're like, oh,
he's a pervert. He's a pervert.
Oh yeah. Okay. I don't really want to talk about the boss's hot wife with you on our lunch break right now, John. Thanks. That's just what he reminds me of. Like the male guy in this neighborhood I walk in. Nice guy. He's into like punk rock, and he's way too nice to be a punk rocker. He's got the haircut. Fuck. I can't tell him about my podcast now that I'm talking about him.
Oh well. Ain't that the worst? Like, you can't tell people in real life that you want to talk shit about on your podcast about your podcast. Damn.
Well, one day he banging hot lady lives next door to this house. I pick up these dogs, and she's like a bitch. She's talked to me before, and she can't help but be a bitch. But one day the male guy, he says,
it's immediate turn off for me. Fuck.
Not for me. I mean, I don't want to date her, but like, just makes a hot, like, okay, well, fuck you too then, bitch. Smack. You know what I'm saying?
I guess so.
But he started saying like, hey, you know that lady that lives over there? And I saw her outside that day, so I knew exactly where he was going with it, and I didn't want to do this with the male guy. So I just played dumb, and I was like, oh, who? And he started, one over there, and he knew her name because he delivers the mail. I was like, this is already kind of weird. And he's like, what's up with her, man? I mean, she's like so super hot. And I was like, oh, yeah, I know who you're talking about. He said, no, she's like got her butt like in the air right now. Like you can see like everything. Like it's like amazing. And I was like, oh, for real? And he's like, dude, yeah, like I don't know if she's like bored or something, but like she's like so hot, like you can see all of it. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Oh my God, dude.
I think he's like his gears are turning. Like maybe this is like my
invitation. Yeah, maybe I should go approach her. Like, hey,
Yeah, so
what's going on?
So I was
start making small talk.
Yeah. So I was on my way to pick up the two dogs that lived next to her. So and I looked. She's like on her hands and knees, like out of a movie, on her hands and knees in these black Daisy Dukes, just ass in the air, facing the road.
What's she doing?
Working in the gardener. I don't know.
Working in the garden.
Fucking know, but like nobody worked. I get what he was saying. Like, yeah, maybe she's bored. Like, what is this? But it was just like that's what John Fetterman reminds me of. Is that guy that one day he just like can't help but start getting weird. Like, dude, just fucking see those titties. Like, relax. Like, so
I get it.
Anyway, shout out to
that's
the male
fucking
guy. He's cool, but anyway,
Shout out, Mel guy. What's up, buddy? Thanks for listening.
yeah. So, what else were we gonna?
But yeah,
talk
that
about?
was that.
Oh fuck!
well-
I didn't even look into it. I saw it online, but I didn't even look into it. The embargo vote.
I didn't look into it either, bro.
Okay.
But
There's what? Let me just.
I just didn't have time. Well, let's look into it now. Fuck it.
Yeah,
What-
U.S.
what-
embargo on Cuba. Let's just
All
look
right,
into
let's
it
see.
because there was a vote just now. I'm gonna go to Wikipedia first, and I'll screen share this. Let's read Wikipedia first because there was
hold
just
on. I got the whatever. Go ahead.
there was just like a vote. There was a vote, I think in the European Union or the UN or something, with all the countries regarding should America continue our embargo on Cuba. So let's look. The embargo against Cuba prevents American businesses and businesses organized under U.S. law or majority owned by American citizens from conducting trade with Cuban interests. Okay, so we can't trade with Cuba.
There's no commerce between the U.S. and Cuba. Okay,
we're
so let me share
basically
now.
Just fucking okay.
I have this U.S. news article and done zero reading. Haven't read this. Oh, why does it say disable screen sharing? Motherfucker, Dylan.
Motherfucker Zoom. I gotta change that shit every time. All right, you're good.
Sweet. Okay, let's see here. UN votes overwhelmingly to condemn. Hey, bitch, get out of here. Get the fuck out of my way. Okay. UN votes overwhelmingly to condemn U.S. embargo of Cuba.
UN.
The UN General Assembly has voted overwhelmingly to condemn the American economic embargo of Cuba for the 30th year, with Biden administration continuing former President Donald Trump's opposition and refusing to return to the Obama administration's 2016 abstention. The UN General Assembly voted overwhelmingly Thursday to condemn the blah, blah, blah. I just repeated that whole thing. The vote in the 193-member General Assembly was 185 countries supporting the condemnation, and the United States and Israel opposing it, and Brazil and Ukraine abstaining it.
United States and Israel working together all the time.
Always.
Now,
Go ahead.
I was just going to side note about, I don't know everything Kanye West said recently. I saw some stuff. I didn't necessarily think it was hate towards Jewish people as much as it was pointing out that there are a lot of rich Jewish people that basically run the world we live in, like the media and shit like that. But regardless of what he said, and if you agree or not, and I'm not saying I agree or not, I'm just saying, look at all the backlash that came from corporation about criticism of Jews.
Lost like millions of dollars,
and we can
billions
see
of dollars in net worth.
And you get into Abby Martin having to sue the federal government for not letting her give a speech at this college in Georgia because it's illegal to criticize Israel in 23 states. I believe it's 23 states.
Yeah, we're talking about that.
Yeah, like
Crazy.
So people are thinking that these corporations are dropping Kanye because of hate speech. But I think what's really happening is it's just another artifact of Israel having their thumb over American free speech and using it in corporations to enforce it. Because he simply pointed out some stuff regarding Jewish power structures in large corporate America, and all of corporate America dropped him. All the medias. So you can see with the Kanye thing, with and it's like illegal for other countries to influence American law, but Israel has done it. And this is what I'm saying. If I was on big contracts, what I'm saying right here would get me dropped, because you cannot criticize Israel at all. You can't even talk about the genocide in Yemen and Palestine, which is where a lot of the criticism comes from, because us and Israel, what I'm saying, us and Israel are working together to fuck the world in the ass. And we can see it right here because America and Israel is the only one that when it can, all the other countries in the world think it's bad and want to stop, but America and Israel are just working together. That's my point. This is like
and then it comes back to the like, oh, well, are the Republican and the Democratic Party that much different? Well, no. Look, Biden is actually to the American public. Yeah, it looks like there's this vast divide, but at the international policy decision making level, it's all birds of the same feather. You know, Biden is just continuing Trump's policy of blocking any type of economic trade between the two countries. In fact, he's apparently ratcheting it up, according to this article. So,
and how about all this World War III stuff? All the Democrats and the Squad and everybody voting to keep funding Ukraine so we can.
They're bipartisan about that too, huh? You know, like what the fuck is all that about?
And all these liberals, all these liberals who think they're so woke, they are not speaking up against the war at all right now, and it's because big corporate influence.
Right.
Look at how
media,
you get treated.
Bro.
Yeah, man. Look at how you get treated. Even when I was working at Comedy Works, the way I got treated for thinking what I thought about the pandemic and the vaccine. You don't have to be Kanye West on contracts. You just have to be a person with a different point of view that works at a large company that doesn't fucking want you there. And they got, from what I understand, I heard Joey Diaz talking about, he didn't name drop, but I know he was talking about, he said a comedy club owner who has 2 clubs in Denver got $10 million in PPP loans during the pandemic. And that was fucking Wendy with Comedy Works, I'm pretty sure. So while she's getting $10 million, I'm getting taken off the schedule because I don't want the vaccine, because to her, it looks like that's where it's going. You know what I'm saying? It's fucked up. And I said this before, but since we're talking about like the influence corporations have over people and the world we live in now, she was like, why don't you want the vaccine? I won't judge you. I just want to know. And when I started explaining it, she got mad, cut me off, and was super disrespectful. I don't see what that has to do with anything. And then her right-hand guy did the same thing. He was just walking around spewing nonsense about like people, blah, 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 get their information from bloggers in Indiana, and I'm done being nice about it. And he said something, and I was like, I don't know about that. He said, well, I do, and I'm done being nice about it. And he just went off. I was like, this is like not at all proper. Get the fuck over it. Even after they say I won't judge you.
You know what's hilarious?
It's
so
crazy.
go and look at the how fucking smart do they feel when they look at the actual efficacy of that vaccine and all the data that's come out after the
Dude,
fact?
whenever I was
they probably still feel justified that
whenever I was working
we did the
there,
right thing. Like, but no, you didn't. You were wrong.
There were so many people.
They lied about what the vaccine could do for you.
Yeah, and there were so many people. We were short staffed on many nights because so many vaccinated people were out sick with COVID, and they were so fucking sick. They would come back talking about how bad they felt, and I just kept my mouth shut because it's so obvious. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
Like, y'all dumb motherfuckers. And where was Dr. Oz and the government talking about vitamin D and being healthy? Again, the most basic. Anyway, I don't want to go on a COVID rant. I'm really just talking about the influence. I'm really just trying to talk about the influence of corporations and big business on people, whether people realize it or not. And, you know, you can see it in Kanye getting totally stripped because of what he thinks about Jewish power structure, whether he's right or wrong. Let the man fucking have some thoughts. Maybe we should look that up and watch the video since I'm talking about it.
Watch what?
Just watch some stuff that Kanye said just to clear the air, because maybe I'm wrong. You know what I'm saying?
Let's see.
I was listening to Joey Diaz and Lee Sayat talk about it today, and they were saying stuff like they're not really that politically awake. Like, they don't go as deep as we go. I'm not saying they're dumb, but it's even then I could see how people are thinking like Kanye shouldn't say these things. And I'm thinking, don't you understand Israel's influence and how evil they are? And like, there simply are a lot of there's a lot of big Israeli money that
What the fuck is this?
is running factions.
What is this?
Which is not anti-Semitic to say, it's just fact, you know? A lot of my clients are Jewish. I love them. They're nice people. I'm just saying, like, maybe the owner of CAA is Jewish and...
What is this? Kanye West shows porn video. Let me find the video. This video. But there's this. I clicked on a headline. Kanye West shows porn video to shocked Adidas execs during business meeting.
And we're going to get into Elon Musk and Twitter and more of how America and Israel work together to control media. If you're listening to this and think I'm a dumb fuck, which probably a lot of people do.
Yeah, who cares?
Yeah. They probably, a lot of people probably didn't even make it this far because we spent 30 minutes talking about my dipshit
your landlord.
What do you think? You think I should cut that out or leave a note or just leave it?
Fucking leave a note and leave it. Either get all of it or shove it up your ass.
Yeah, I mean, Sam Tripoli, they do some long intros and I've sat through them. So if you like the show, you'll
especially if you have it like as background noise or whatever, you appreciate just the
right.
You hear about the stupid shit in our lives.
Right, you're right. You're right.
I don't know if I'm able to find this video, bro. I think they probably pulled all that shit down from the internet. I'm having trouble.
What video?
Oh, the anti-Semitic comments one.
Oh, they pulled all that shit?
I can't find it.
He said the Jewish media blocked me out.
That's what he said.
That's just a head. Okay, I got something here. Let's just watch this, man. Let's just kick back and watch.
Like Kanye West, now known as Ye, is one of the best-selling musical artists in the world. He's also in recent years become a celebrated and very highly paid fashion designer. And of course, for a decade, he was well known to TV audiences as an in-law of the Kardashian family. But it's West's latest incarnation as a kind of Christian evangelist that brought us to his office in Los Angeles today for the interview you're about to see. Days ago, during Fashion Week in Paris, West, accompanied by his friend Candace Owens,
when did this come out?
Unveiled a T-shirt that read simply, "White Lives Matter." The response from the fashion industry and international media was instantaneous and uniform. Shock, horror, rage. There is no excuse for this, thundered the New York Times. West is legitimizing extremism, shrieked Rolling Stone, etc., etc. What was strikingly missing from the coverage, however, was any explanation for why West did this. What was the T-shirt about? No one seemed to think to ask him, much less to listen to what he had to say. Instead, the enemies of his ideas dismissed West, as they have for years, as mentally ill. Too crazy to take seriously. Look away, ignore him. He's a mental patient. There's nothing to see here. But is West crazy? You can judge for yourself as you watch what we're about to show you.
Well, this isn't about the
he has his own ideas.
Comments,
we can say
though.
that.
This is
Creative
about
people
that
tend to.
Okay.
That's why they're
Lives
artists,
Matter.
not actuaries. His freeform social
Holy shit,
media
you
posts
see that,
give
dude?
the impression of a man channeling his.
I'm trying to type Kanye anti-Semitic and nothing's even coming up. Kanye Antiques Roadshow. Let's
Yet another controversy for Kanye West, also known as Ye. He's been locked out of his Twitter account now. The platform suspended a tweet. That tweet said his tweet continues actually Jew.
Can't even find him saying this shit now. What the fuck should I search, dude? That's like
I mean, that's like that's what I searched. Nothing came up.
What the fuck? Holy shit.
Anti-Semitic Comments podcast. Put that in there.
Dude, did they fucking scrub this shit? Kanye West goes full Jewish question anti-Semite.
Sure.
The Kyle Kalinske show. All right.
All right, y'all, buckle up. So,
I don't
platform.
want to hear Kyle Clancy's full explanation.
And buy this nigga out for $30 million.
I thought you co-signed that.
I ain't co-signing, but you get used to that. Paparazzi taking a picture of you. You ain't getting no money off it.
Part of some
Getting no money off
is
by the Jewish media. And I'm saying,
Let it play. What the fuck? Why did it freeze?
hot damn. Okay. Kanye openly said,
Lazy Hemisphere mega fan. How hard is it to find this shit, man?
I told you I was having trouble. All right, let me search that.
This is how it was with Stacey Abrams. I couldn't find her talking. It was just other people talking over it and like telling you what to think about it, basically.
Here, I found it. Let me share.
Go hate. Wow.
Sorry, folks. Whatever. Fuck it.
we made the White Lives Matter tees, and then when I put up the tweet, the DEF CON tweet, now he ain't releasing the tee because he's Jewish. And I'm like, see, this is my exact point that I'm making. Like, Jewish people have owned the black voice, whether it's through us wearing a Ralph Lauren shirt, or it's all of us being signed to a record label, or having a Jewish manager, or being signed to a Jewish basketball team, or doing a movie on a Jewish platform like Disney. And we understand, it's like, I respect what the Jewish people have done and how they brought their people together. You know, they came into money through the lawyers when after Wall Street, when all of the like the Catholics, they wouldn't divorce people. Right. So the Jewish lawyers came and they were willing to divorce people. That's when they first came into their money. So like, say with me and Jay, with our culture, with the darker Jews. First of all, because you got
it happens when anybody starts talking deep.
Okay. Yeah. With the darker Jews, the 12 lost tribes of Israel, who we are, because we Jewish also. We from Africa also. We're the blood of Christ. So we're not just black. We are Jew, just like the Jewish people. And now we're coming into money. But the main thing is, I got to drink the Douce over the Hennessy as the first step to us coming together, like how the Jewish people came together. But we couldn't even talk about, I remember Ben Horowitz called me after 444 and said, I don't know about Jay giving up Jewish business secrets. And these secrets,
we was talking about building up the properties and stuff like that.
Yeah,
on 444.
These secrets they not finna be a secret no more. Like if somebody tells me something, it's like, yo, I want.
Okay.
He said he was Jewish. Like, I don't see hate speech in there. I just see him talking about what he knows about the business.
Here we go. More.
Am I wrong for that?
Let's hear more.
DEF CON and unknown it, right? I'm like, put it out. And he's telling me like, yo, I want you to visit the Holocaust Museum. And I was like, yo, I want you to visit Planned Parenthood. That's our Holocaust Museum.
Oh, shit.
I'm like, yo, I put my life on this at this point.
Who is he talking about?
Is from American Apparel.
Okay.
But I'm talking about put out my White Lives Matter tee. The White Lives Matter tee don't say nothing. It don't say DEF CON and unknown it, right? I'm like, put it out. And he's telling me like, yo, I want you to visit the Holocaust Museum. And I was like, yo, I want you to visit Planned Parenthood. That's our Holocaust Museum. I'm like, yo, I put my life on this at this point. because they've been fucking with me too long. They put the crazy narrative out there. My Jewish trainer, Harley Pasternak, who's Lizzo's trainer, put it out when I went to the hospital, put it in the press. I got a bunch of friends that went to the hospital. It didn't go to the press. They did that just like they did in the documentary on the 3rd episode to say, we love Ye like the rest of y'all. We know he a genius like the rest of y'all, but sometimes you got to turn the camera off on him. So they'll go and get a dude that's supposed to be my friend that's been taping me the whole time and buy this nigga out for $30 million.
I thought you co-signed that.
I ain't co-signing, but you get used to that. Paparazzi taking a picture of you, you ain't getting no money off it. Right. You just get used to getting screwed by the Jewish media. And I'm saying, y'all done poked the bear too fucking long. When I wore the White Lives Matter tee, I had 4 SoFi Stadium shows. They canceled my shows. I said it's up. And let me tell you one thing. It's like if a black man is caught with something in the car or something, everybody in the car gonna go to jail with him, right? But if a black man can play basketball or rap, only he gets the record deal. So meaning like if one black man does something bad, all the other blacks get caught with him. If one black man does something good, nobody else gets nothing with him. It's a reverse for the Jewish people, right? If a Jewish person could repeatedly fucks me on a deal, it's just them. It's just the businessman. It's not the people. It's not nobody else. But if a Jewish person does good, all of their people eat with them. That's one of the flips. I got to tell you something. Where is a black guy that has a Jewish person?
That was interesting.
We only got to listen to all of it, but yeah.
Play another one. Let's keep listening to it.
Keep going.
It's a pretty touchy subject. The more better than listening to me talk. So let's hear it straight from the horse's mouth.
I'll stop right here.
Yeah.
Call me to Q because Q been labeled an anti-Semite. First of all, we are Semite. We Jew. So I can't be anti-Semite. First of all, I need my 4 stadiums back. The 78 media outlets that call me abuser when I was trying to get that heroin addict away from my kids that was tattooing my kids' names on them, Skeet, Pete Davidson. They popping up. You know what I'm saying? It's like they Trevor Noah, not even from America. He just looked black. Right? Gonna say, yo, Kim, it's gonna get dangerous. So they putting all that he crazy. He's so OJ. Nori just want the family back together. I just want the family back together. Kim is a Christian. On TMZ, I just saw yesterday, they said Pete Davidson and Kim have sex by the fireplace to honor their grandmother. It's Jewish Zionists that's about that life.
Let's watch one more.
All right, last one.
That's like 18 seconds.
All right, fine.
Run up on me. Run up on me. No. I want y'all to run up on me. No. I want y'all to come kill me. No. I want you to smack me. No. I want you to do all the shit you rap about. No. All the shit you rap about. I want all the shit you rap about. I want you to come do it now. Come down to this joint right now, please, please. Or otherwise, shut the fuck up. Y'all to run up on me.
Can you play the one below it?
Right here?
Yeah.
Yeah, hold on.
Drove me to the edge.
Some of the MAGA hat.
The MAGA hat. Would they support me? I got to say something about the hat. That's one of the things that really drove me to the edge.
Some of the MAGA hat.
The MAGA hat. Imagine your own wife telling you, "Oh, the hat's small dick energy." Meanwhile, the Clintons got them trying to get people to get vaccinated. I know somebody, I'm not going to say his name, where Kim and Chris got on the phone with them trying to get them to push the vaccination to black people. Meaning that's how in tuned and how aligned with the Clintons that the Kardashians were through Corey. Through Corey. Would they support me? I got to say something.
Interesting, man.
Wow.
I mean, I could see how some people would disagree with it, but I mean, all this backlash, it seems a bit much, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Yeah. I didn't know that much about it until we just watched those clips, but yeah. I don't know that Sue, I listened to the Lex Friedman podcast with him on there. Not all of it, some of it on my morning run. So I was kind of half paying attention.
And then if you doubt, sorry, go ahead.
I think Lex had a good point. Like, he's calling out all these people that like fucked him over in the fashion industry and in the music industry. And like, he keeps relating it back to like they're Jewish people. Like, but Lex is like, they're individuals. Like, those are the people. Yeah, you got fucked over by people that just happen to be Jewish. So I get maybe that side of the argument too. Like, why the necessity to call out the fact that they are Jewish and they're these individuals that are fucking you over, right? And maybe Kanye does have a point. There's a lot of people that are in the media that are Jewish. There's a lot of people that are in those positions that are Jewish. I don't know. I don't know if he meant it. Whatever.
The irony to me right now, I'm thinking about it, is that every single big company dropped him, and then
You're right. Every single one.
And then America and Israel are the only two companies that want to continue the embargo. Like, we give so much money to Israel. 23 states, it's illegal to criticize Israel. Like, it's not crazy to talk about the Jewish power structure that has power over people's voices.
Yeah, I mean, you're right, because it kind of illustrated the point. Like, he said something negative.
Illustrated the point.
He said something negative about the Jewish people, and then here no one is going to touch him with a fucking 100-foot pole now. He's lost billions of dollars in his net worth. Adidas dropped him. Like, he's in bad shape now.
Yeah, it's crazy
because of a comment he made. So,
now, did you see that stuff he talked about the big companies, about how like Nike? Let me find this. This was really interesting what he talked about. What their goal is not profit. Nike, and he was talking about what number they are on the list of rich companies. Like, their goal is not profit on Nike.
The power.
I've never Kanye West described his issues with Nike and confirms Adidas deal. Fuck. I'm gonna find it.
You good?
I don't remember where this clip was. Kanye West on Nike and big companies. Kanye West truth on the Gap deal. Okay, I think this is it. Okay, let me share this. This might not be it, but this is from the same show.
Because Nike's on defense, it's not on offense. Right? Because niggas love Nike. Right? So Nike is used for political influence, because it's not about the money you make, it's about the position you have. So when they signed me to Gap, it wasn't to raise a stock price, it was to be able to be like, to tell the Fortune 500 companies that do deals with China, to tell them, hey, Gap has influence in the underserved communities.
Right.
That was what the deal was about.
That's the girl part, not you.
The same reason why I was in a Kardashian situation. So you would feel.
But hold on, let me ask you something, because as a person that when we first seen the Gap deal, right?
Yeah.
Then you walk into the store and then there's these clothes that's just on the floor. Is that degrading to somebody that's rich that want to come in there and support you?
We should degrade the rich. Everybody is dirt. Everybody on the same level beneath God. Because Nike's on defense. It's not on.
Okay.
There's more in that episode, but he goes into how it's about influence. It's not about profit.
I mean, it makes sense. That's why you would grab a major media figure like Kanye.
Yeah.
It's about showing the level of influence you have on a culture of people, which can make sometimes bigger strides than in a strong economic position. So
let me stop this and make a new one, and we'll talk about Elon.
Yeah. We got our last two subjects.
All right, so Elon bought Twitter, and everyone's freaking out, and free speech is all the talk. What are your thoughts? You believe in this? You believe in all this free speech shit, or you think there's something going on?
I think there could be something else going on with this. There's a lot of speculation and shit like that. One of the things I found was that this could be a payment platform play, because he came from the PayPal mafia. So the thought here is that let me share this article that I have. So Caitlin Long, who's a Morgan Stanley banker who now runs a stablecoin company, she says that she's pretty sure there's no doubt that he's using Twitter as a vehicle to further his long-held desire to remake the payments industry.
Interesting.
He's been trying to go ahead.
He was talking recently about how China's WeChat app is the best app, and we don't have anything like it because you can do everything, including send payments back and forth.
Correct.
And he was like, "Well, why don't we just copy WeChat?" So that's interesting.
Yep. So he's been trying to disintermediate ACH his whole career, which ACH is the money transfer network run by the banks. She views Musk's Twitter play as the reincarnation of Libra. So I don't know if you remember that. That was to provide crypto wallets to Facebook's more than 1 billion users.
Boy, Libra died fast.
Yep. The plan floundered under the withering scrutiny from Congress, but she says Twitter can succeed where Facebook failed because its payment backbone is the Bitcoin Lightning Network, a mostly decentralized structure that doesn't have the same political baggage as the project led by Zuckerberg. If you want more evidence that it's a it's a payments play, some of the people he's brought on to help him are Binance founder Changpeng Zhao, David Sachs, who's another PayPal mafia member deeply involved in crypto, Sriram Krishnan, who invests for A16Z crypto and who has an Ethereum address in his Twitter handle. So a lot of people that are in that field of expertise. And then he has said as much so as well. According to an investor document obtained by the New York Times, he predicted that Twitter will bring in $1.2 billion in payment revenue by 2028, which he would also achieve his stated goal of making the platform less dependent on advertisers. So, and then it goes on to say, when he ran PayPal in 1999, the company was in a position to disrupt the payments business because of a new technology, the internet, and the maverick attitude of its executive team. He wants to do the same thing all over again, basically. So that could be what it's all about. His official stated reason was not that. Whenever they asked, like, why did Elon Musk buy Twitter? He says, and this is from a Newsweek article, fundamentally, Twitter aspires to be the most respected advertising platform in the world that strengthens your brand and grows your expertise. To everyone who has partnered with us, I thank you. Let us do something extraordinary together. Oh, wait, I skipped it. He says he bought Twitter to promote the opportunity for dialogue, which he said is lost because of the way media fueled and catered to polarized extremes with the intent that it would generate revenue through relentless pursuit of clicks. There is currently a great danger that social media will splinter into far right-wing and far left-wing echo chambers that generate more heat and divide our society, he said, adding that Twitter will be warm and welcoming under his ownership. He also explained that he didn't purchase Twitter because it would be easy. I didn't do it to make more money. I did it to try to help humanity, whom I love. And I do so with humility, recognizing that failure in pursuing this goal, despite our best efforts, is a very real possibility. He further stressed that it is important to provide relevant advertising to Twitter's users that would cater to their needs. And that's where I originally read that last quote. So
I'm about to
that was his
top off of that.
That was his official stated reason. So what you got on this whole thing?
From listening to Robbie Martin and Media Roots Radio with Abby Martin, I've heard some interviews with a very good researcher called Gumby for Christ on Twitter. And if you follow him, you get like really deep stuff that's actually hard to read. So I'm going to share a thread he posted when Elon bought it. Said Elon Musk is the nominally privatized segment of the U.S. security state and military-industrial complex. His collection of fake companies, all reliant on public funding and tax exemptions, are everywhere involved in CIA and State Department proxy wars and regime change operations. Twitter, like all Silicon Valley social media companies, is but an extension of the U.S. security state and CIA propaganda efforts. If you're an official enemy, you're gone. If you're a friend, like the Israeli or the Saudi genocidal regimes or Azov Nazis, you're safe. So we can look at these screenshots. U.S. confirms it asked Twitter to stay open to help Iran protesters. This was the Obama administration back in the day, June 17th, 2009. While insisting it is not meddling in Iran, yesterday confirmed it had asked Twitter to remain open to help anti-government protesters. So this reminds me of people who I've talked to that's like, they can a private company, they can do what they want. Social media is not that big of a deal, free speech, blah, blah, blah. Then why the fuck is the Obama administration and other ones asking them to control information for things we have going on in other countries? Because it is important. The company had planned a temporary shutdown to overhaul its service in the middle of the night on Monday, but the U.S. State Department put in a request to postpone this. Many protesters have been using Twitter to spread information about rallies and to share news. White House spokesman Robert Gibbs asked about this at a press conference yesterday, would neither confirm nor deny, saying only that a free press and a means of communication were important. But the State Department yesterday confirmed a request was made to Twitter. The New York Times last night identified the author of the request as Jared Cohen, a 27-year-old State Department official. Twitter complied with the request, delaying its overhaul until last night. PJ Crowley, the Assistant Secretary of State for Public Affairs, told the New York Times this was just a call to say, it appears Twitter is playing an important role at a crucial time in Iran. Could you keep it going? That's what they were saying. Twitter suspends accounts linked to Hamas, Hezbollah. Twitter Inc., this was 2019, November 4th, almost 3 years ago. Twitter Inc. has suspended accounts linked to Iran-backed militant group Hezbollah and Palestinian group Hamas after U.S. lawmakers criticized the social media company for allowing those entities to remain active on the platform, even though the State Department has designated both as terrorist organizations. Twitter, on its messaging platform, shows that accounts including Hamas's English and Arabic language accounts had been suspended for violating its rules. Quote, there is no place on Twitter for illegal terrorist organizations and violent extremist groups, Twitter said Monday. The company's move is an apparent about-face after previously telling a bipartisan group of lawmakers that it distinguished between the military and political arms of the two groups, effectively allowing these organizations and their affiliates to use the site. So Twitter...
So the government's controlling content, whether directly internally or through external pressure. The type of content that's allowed to be posted on Twitter. So getting into free speech, and what Elon Musk is doing is far beyond just trying to turn it into a payment platform. Incidentally, this is also why China is so feared and despised. It is only the advanced economy that has managed... This is why China is so feared and despised. It is the only advanced economy that has managed to inoculate itself from the Silicon Valley CIA security state colonization by developing native alternatives, as Yanis Varoufakis explains here. We're sharing sound, so let's play this.
And the third thing he did was he ring-fenced big tech. China is the only country that features companies that can compete with Amazon, they can compete with Google. Europe cannot do that. We do not have such large corporations. And one of the reasons why various administrations in the United States, including the new one of President-elect Biden, are confrontational with China is because it's very difficult to accept that there is, an Amazon competitor in China that the United States policymakers cannot find ways of incorporating in the Silicon Valley-based big tech, another kind of primitive accumulation rivalry between two superpowers that doesn't benefit the world.
Good. Thank you.
So that's an interesting take, because in America, China is, they're so evil, right? He goes on to say, this is all very overt. Just look at what's promoted in the tabs and what's allowed to go viral when an official enemy is involved. Explicit calls for terror and murder that would instantly get you banned if you said it about Israel, the U.S., and any Western country, which is what we just saw with Kanye, saying anything about Israel or Jewish, just fucking dropped everywhere. Just to give a current example, look at the constant promotion in any Iran-related news of a media outlet called Iran International. Sounds benign, right? But it's funded by the fascist, genocidal Saudi Mohammed bin Salman regime to wage propaganda war in Iran. Even The Guardian reported on it. So let's unpack that. Saeed Kamali Degan said on Twitter, he said, I can confirm that Jamal Khashoggi was killed because of speaking to me on the phone from Istanbul in the morning on September 26, revealing that London-based Iran International TV was funded by Mohammed bin Salman and Saudi al-Qahtani. So basically this Iran news organization for Iran is funded by Saudi bin Salman. And it's basically propaganda that they're putting in Iran. It's not actual positive Iranian news. Next screenshot. Concern, this is The Guardian now. Concern over UK-based Iranian TV channels links to Saudi Arabia. So basically there's a lot of news coming out about the Iranian news thing being funded by the Saudi guy. And then it says here, the contents of this article are disputed by Iran International and its operator DMA Media Limited, and a statement made by them is published at the end of the article. So it's disputed by Iran International, but Iran International is
funded by MBS.
Of course they're going to dispute
the Saudis.
It goes on. Now, the main hosts on Iran International used to work for BBC Persian, which is also a pure propaganda outlet that's constantly celebrating and encouraging acts of terror and murder that would get you banned immediately in Israel, the U.S., etc., and no state-affiliated media tags. That's just one example. There's a whole host of such media outlets and journalists, end quote, who are, of course, all verified and get boosted in the what's happening in news tabs that do the same for China, Venezuela, Cuba, Bolivia, Syria, just any country that's an official enemy. That's what these companies do. They're the propaganda infrastructure of the CIA and the U.S. security state, and by extension of Israel and any Western regime that follows the lead of Washington. Musk is deeply embedded in all of this. It's literally his job to advance that project. And this was days ago after he bought it. Incidentally, it is not surprising that one of the main funders for Musk to acquire Twitter is a Saudi MBS puppet, which he just said in the article you read, like, I'm doing this because I want to help humanity. This isn't about money. It's like, it's not about money because it wasn't your money you spent. And help humanity, what does that mean? What part of humanity are you talking about? The one that America and Israel approve of? So imagine if this were an Iranian billionaire or the Cuban government or a person aligned with Hezbollah, but it's fine. They're allies in MBS. Mohammed bin Salman loves free speech. And this article from Fortune he posts says how Elon Musk converted Saudi billionaire Prince Al-Walid bin Talal from staunch foe to firm ally of this Twitter deal in just 3 weeks. Also, to be clear, this is where we get deep. The Starlink bullshit is a CIA front to aid its regime change operations. That's why it's immediately available for Ukraine, Iran, and wait for Cuba and Venezuela, but not for Palestine, Afghanistan, Yemen, etc. Again, Elon Musk is a whore of the security state. And I love this because we've talked about Starlink and how he, I guess we'll get to this, but he, exploits the resources for lithium so he can make what he needs for all of this new shit. Starlink is supposed to bring internet to third world countries so they can be profitable in the new economy, just like we talked about in Africa, the slave labor for Hershey chocolate. They get paid nothing. Nobody talks about that, but the solution is Starlink. It's not to pay them what they want. Remember, they just wanted $400 per pound or something, like whatever, when they got like zero. The solution is Starlink. That's how it's sold to us. But on the back end, it's like Steve-O is gonna. He said he doesn't have internet, so he can't stream games with us because he lives out in the country now. But he said I'm gonna get Starlink as soon as it's available. And in my mind, I'm thinking it's already available because they're using it for war in Ukraine. You know what I'm saying? Like it's
exactly, yeah.
It's this commercial side that allows us to, just like when Elon Musk was making the Boring Company to fix traffic in LA, like all these things, and that never happened. None of that ever happened. That's all just a distraction for us to accept it and let it keep going. Because on the back end, he's just the puppet for. He's literally contracted by like the military. He's Iron Man. That's what he's really doing.
Seems like it a little bit.
So he goes on. Yeah, it says it goes on. The funniest thing was when Musk did the OMG, a nuclear holocaust would be bad for me too stuff and pretended to stop funding for Starlink in Ukraine. Then went, never mind, I'll keep funding it out of pocket, as if all of it doesn't come from the state. And then here's Noam Chomsky saying how corporations suck off the state's teat, and that's why Elon Musk hates him. Taking no risk in stealing tech developed by public funding, then make record profits, avoid taxes, and underpay workers. So let's just hear this.
So you take a look at, say, computers, the internet, lasers, microelectronics, satellites, run through the whole gamut. Where'd they come from? They come mostly funded by the Pentagon at institutions like MIT. Taxpayers pay for it because the Russians are coming. So we have to pay for it. And the end result is, Bill Gates is the richest man in the world. Steve Jobs could set up Apple. The first computers that reached the market were 1977, Apple. That's about 30 years, after 30 years of development, mostly in the state sector. Now that's where the risky, costly work is done. Walk around MIT today, you see Novartis, other pharmaceutical corporations ripping off, stealing the technology that's being developed in the state sector and using it for the profits of the future. That's the way the economy works. It's a very, if you read the newspapers, Financial Times, the German economic newspapers, they're constantly talking about free enterprise and markets and so on. I mean, there's some crucial facts about markets. I mean, you can like them or not, but there are some properties that they have. One property is that, say, if you invest in a risky enterprise and you invest for decade after decade, and risky and costly, and if after all of this there's some profit, it's supposed to go back to you. That's not the way the economy works. The taxpayer is extorted, essentially, to pay for the risky and costly developments, literally for decades, and doesn't get a penny back for it. The profits go to private enterprise.
Wow.
That's our free enterprise economy. And the Pentagon was a funnel.
Wow, what a bombshell that was, huh?
Right.
That was crazy. Well, he says another case in point here, Evo Morales responding to Elon Musk's support of the fascist coup regime in Bolivia. He said, our struggle is for a political project for liberation, is for control of our national resources. Now, if we click on that, we can find the screenshot of whenever somebody... Fuck. When he said we'll coup whoever we want. Remember that?
Oh yeah, I remember that. I remember that.
Yeah, it's not here, but basically here it is. You know what wasn't in the best interest of people? The US government organizing a coup against Evo Morales in Bolivia so he could obtain the lithium there. And then Elon Musk responds and says, we will coup whoever we want. Deal with it. So that's what he's up to as well, to get the lithium to make the Teslas that all these woke people are buying, thinking they're helping the world. But really, they're just, it's so fucking wild. Starlink and Tesla and everyone's helping the world. And on the back end, not not. It's so fucking wild. So let's keep going down this thread. It's not just the state-affiliated media tag that's intentionally deployed to brand official enemy media outlets and journalists, while Western state media is free from such burdens. They also outright block whatever Western regimes or Israel demand to be blocked in their country, like RT, Russia Today. That was where Abby Martin worked for a long time.
I remember.
And she was very critical of the American empire, and they've taken down that account, taken out all the videos. And that's the end of that thread.
Wild. That's wild.
Yeah.
Wild claims.
Elon Musk and all this free speech stuff. Let's watch all the propaganda that comes out.
You heard it here, folks.
Yeah.
From whatever this Twitter person's name is.
This is ZEI_squirrel.
Shout out ZEI_squirrel.
Yeah.
Good little thread.
Yeah. Yeah, he's got a lot of great stuff. Oh, here's something. The UN just held a vote on ending the U.S. embargo on Cuba, which has killed countless over many decades and violates every international norm. Every country voted in favor except the U.S. and Israel. Yeah, this guy is
wild.
It's a good page. So, yeah, Elon Musk.
That's a good page. I'm going to give him a follow.
Yeah, Gumby for Christ is a great follow as well.
Gumby for Christ and ZEI_squirrel.
Yeah.
So maybe he's doing it for free speech. Maybe he's doing it for a payment platform. Maybe he is a arm of the U.S. government via CIA.
Oh, he's definitely
and running operations on that front.
It's fucked up what Noam Chomsky said about the taxpayers.
That's true, though. I mean,
and we don't get that profit back.
That's a good point. You know, and you don't think about it that way, but
Elon Musk and Bill Gates get the profits, and they're the richest guys in the world.
True point, man. All that technology is developed in the public sector, military and such. You know, wild, off of taxpayer money.
So let's talk about Paul Pelosi real quick. I found the actual court documents. Facts supporting probable cause, and they actually go through the official.
Awesome. There was some definitely misreporting upon this initially. You know, the San Francisco Police Department when they first, I think there was some, it was Politico or someone like that said that they incorrectly said that the men were found in their underwear together. That turned out not to be true. Which fueled this whole homosexual. This guy was like a homosexual prostitute for Paul Pelosi. And then there was the random third person that supposedly opened the door. Like whenever the cops got there, some unknown subject opened the door and they found Paul Pelosi and David DePape struggling with a hammer in their hand. And then he, of course, broke free from Paul and struck him in the head. Yeah. But who is that third person? Well, apparently that turned out there was no third person there. So there was some weirdness with the beginning of this story that kind of did fuel some conspiracy theories. But in the days since all that initially come out, David DePape himself has made statements in court. And it's pretty clear that from his statements that this guy was definitely a nut job. I mean, I don't know what you found, but I mean, he was talking about tying from his own mouth. This fucking cat's talking about tying Nancy Pelosi up, breaking her kneecaps if she didn't give the right answer about like lying to the American people, to give the visual of her having to roll with a wheelchair into Congress to show lawmakers that there are consequences for their actions. This guy was a fucking nut job for sure.
Yeah, super.
But there was definitely some like, what the fuck in the story, right? You know, like, how did this cat, first of all, I find it insane that these multi-millionaires don't have better security for their house. I find it strange that there were cameras that the Capitol Police have access to, but no one was watching at the time of the attack. That's strange, right? I mean, maybe they don't always watch anyway.
I was reading about that, and the excuse was there's like 1,800 cameras and like 1,900 officers. There's a few that they have watching Capitol Hill or whatever, and there's a few on the Pelosi's house. But Nancy Pelosi was out of town, so all of the security detail was with her. they weren't paying as close of attention to the house, and they didn't notice until they saw the cop lights on the camera. That's when they went back and saw something happening, and then they rewound it and saw what happened. So they weren't paying as close of attention. And the U.S. Capitol Police are running an internal investigation right now to find out how they can do stuff better in the future and yada, yada, yada. But it's pretty fucked up. Like, you know, hey, that's your job. What were you doing?
Right. Yeah, this whole story was weird. I don't know. So what you got with the court documents?
Let me show you. I want to talk about David DePapi too, because whenever you read about him, it's like, it's just the playbook over again. The conspiracy theories and the 2020 election, and he thinks this and he thinks that. It's like, come on, man.
And the other thing is, like, the timing of this could not be better for
the midterms, the
right?
elections. It's all the time.
So you could say it's a false flag, and maybe it is. Maybe
I want to see pictures.
It feels like a false flag, just because of the timing and the craziness of it. And this dude's a fucking mental case, and someone drugged this motherfucker and put him. I don't know.
I want to see pictures of Paul Pelosi's injuries. Nobody's posting a picture of him in the hospital saying, no, look, he's actually injured. I know, like, he probably is, but where's the fucking picture of him injured? You know what I'm saying? Like, don't you think that would be there? Like, so here's the actual court documents. Justice.gov/OPA/press-release, yada, yada. Facts supporting probable cause.
106/download.
Yeah. Facts supporting probable cause. I'll put this link in the notes, in the show notes or whatever. On October 28th, 2022, 2:23 a.m., San Francisco Dispatch received a 911 call from Paul Pelosi, Big P, located at the Pelosi residence in San Francisco, California. Pelosi stated words to the effect of, there is a male in the home and that the male is going to wait for Pelosi's wife. Pelosi further conveyed that he does not know who the male is. The male said his name is David. This is the most bizarre part to me, how him and David are just having a conversation.
Right.
Back and forth.
It seems calm at this point, right? Like, there's this dude, he smashed the back window to Paul Pelosi's house, and he got in. Now he's just having a conversation with him.
Yeah.
Supposedly what happened here is that Pelosi said he needed to go to the bathroom, went to the bathroom, and then made this phone call that you're reading right here. And then, like, was describing the incident. It, like, basically said he needed a wellness check, put the phone in his pocket, and then all this proceeded.
Yes, this is like the actual paper with the judge signing it and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Statement of the case. The felony complaint charges the defendant with attempted murder. Statement of the facts. In the middle of the night, defendant smashed through a window and a back door of the Pelosi home in search of the speaker. Speaker was not home. Her husband, Paul, was asleep in his pajamas and boxer shorts upstairs. Standing over Mr. Pelosi's bed at 2 a.m., defendant startled Mr. Pelosi awake by asking, "Are you Paul Pelosi?" The defendant carried a large hammer in his right hand and several white plastic zip ties in his left. Defendant then repeated, "Where's Nancy? Where's Nancy?" Still groggy from being suddenly awoken, Mr. Pelosi responded, "She's not here." Defendant then demanded, "Well, when is she going to be back?" Paul Pelosi said, "She's in Washington. She's not going to be back for a couple of days." Defendant responded, "Okay, well, I'm going to tell you." Is that how you would respond if somebody woke you up in the middle of the night with just talking to him? "Oh, she's not here."
Not like, who the fuck are you? Get out of my fucking house. Yeah,
exactly. Like, this is so bizarre. This isn't adding up. Mr. Pelosi stood up and tried to leave by the elevator near the bed. It's like a video. He just got up and, like, walked away by the elevator, but the defendant held the door, preventing Mr. Pelosi from escaping. Mr. Pelosi then returned to the bedroom, sat on the bed, and asked defendant why he wanted to see or talk to Nancy. "Well, she's number 2 in line for the presidency, right?" When Mr. Pelosi agreed, defendant responded that they are all corrupt and we've got to take them all out. When Mr. Pelosi asked if he could call anyone for defendant ominously responded that it was the end of the road for Mr. Pelosi. Still trying to escape from defendant, Mr. Pelosi asked to use the bathroom. Defendant allowed him to do so. Mr. Pelosi stood up and walked to the bathroom where his phone was charging. Standing in the bathroom, Mr. Pelosi grabbed his phone, turned it on, called 911. If it was charging, it should already be on, right? And put on the speakerphone. Why would if you got a dude trying to kill you with a hammer, you're gonna go to the bathroom and call 911 secretly on speakerphone?
Yeah.
So weird.
It's very strange.
Watching
Why
Mr.
is your phone
Pelosi
charging in the bathroom?
Yeah, watching Mr. Pelosi, defendant stood about 3 feet away. So he's watching him call 911 on speakerphone. It doesn't add up. Still holding the large hammer and the zip ties. During the 911 call itself, Mr. Pelosi said that there was a gentleman there waiting for his wife, Nancy Pelosi, to come back. But Mr. Pelosi said they would have to wait because his wife would not be coming back for about a day. Mr. Pelosi could see defendant gesturing and heard defendant tell him to get off the phone. To defuse the situation, Mr. Pelosi told the dispatcher that he did not need police, fire, or medical assistance. Trying to be calm and discreet while also trying to help dispatch to understand the situation, Mr. Pelosi then asked for the Capitol Police because they are usually at the house protecting his wife. The dispatcher clarified that Mr. Pelosi was calling San Francisco police. Mr. Pelosi said that he understood and then asked someone, "I don't know, what do you think?" Another man responded, "Everything's good." Mr. Pelosi then stated, he thinks everything's good. I've got a problem, but he thinks everything's good. When the dispatcher told Mr. Pelosi to call back if he changed his mind, Mr. Pelosi quickly responded, No, this gentleman just came into the house and he wants to wait for my wife to come home. The dispatcher then asked Mr. Pelosi if he knew the person, and Mr. Pelosi said that he did not. Mr. Pelosi then said that the man was telling him not to do anything. The dispatcher then asked Mr. Pelosi for his name and address, and Mr. Pelosi gave the dispatcher both. While the defendant's watching, he tells him. So wild. Mr. Pelosi then said that the man told him to put the phone down and just do what he says. The dispatcher then asked for the man's name, and the man responded, "My name is David." When the dispatcher asked who David is, Mr. Pelosi said, "I don't know." But David said, "I'm a friend of theirs." Mr. Pelosi then confirmed with the dispatcher that he did not know the man. "He's telling me I'm being very lazy, so I've got to stop talking to you, okay?" When the dispatcher offered to stay on the line with Mr. Pelosi to make sure everything is okay, Pelosi said, "No, he wants me to get the hell off the phone." The call ended. Based on her training and what she heard, dispatcher Heather Grives issued an A priority well-being check. After the call, defendant said that he was tired and needed to sleep. He also told Pelosi that he had a backpack downstairs with a whole bunch of stuff inside. They proceeded downstairs with defendant walking behind Mr. Pelosi, still holding the large hammer and the zip ties. Turning on the lights, Mr. Pelosi could see where defendant entered the house. Defendant commented he had to bash the window several times to break through and enter. Defendant also said that the police would be there any minute. Mr. Pelosi tried to calm defendant by saying they would not, but defendant responded, "I can take you out." Defendant came around to Mr. Pelosi's right with the large hammer upright in his hand. Afraid that defendant would strike him with the hammer, Pelosi reached out, put his hand on the handle of the hammer. Shortly after the call, officers Colby Wilms and Kyle Cagney responded to the residence. When Officer Wilms rang the doorbell, defendant directed Mr. Pelosi not to open the door, but Mr. Pelosi opened the door with his left hand. As the door opened, the two men stood in the dimly lit foyer facing the officers. Pelosi nervously but calmly greeted them. When the officer asked what was going on, defendant smiled and said, "Everything's good," and pulled his hand towards his body. When an officer turned on his flashlight, defendant could be seen holding the bottom handle of the hammer with one hand and Mr. Pelosi's right arm with the other. Mr. Pelosi had his hand on the top of the handle near the hammer itself. One officer ordered, "Drop the hammer." At the same time, defendant raised the hammer and said, nope. Defendant tried to pull the hammer away from Mr. Pelosi. Pelosi twisted Pelosi's arm back. Simultaneously, Pelosi pleaded, Hey. The officer asked again, "What's going on here?" But Pelosi could not maintain his grip on the hammer. Second later, defendant wrenched the hammer away from Pelosi, stepped back, lunged at him, struck him in the head. He knocked unconscious. He woke up a few minutes later. The defendant said, "I'm sick of the fucking lies, yada, yada." Yeah, that's basically the gist of the story, and it's very bizarre because
So that reads like a crazy. So honestly, if it is a crazy person, that reads like a crazy person breaking into your house, like this mentally ill guy that's just like, "Hey, where's Nancy?" And then like you just kind of freeze, like, I could see it playing out a little bit like that, right? Like as I played through it in my head, and I'm thinking it's weird. It definitely is. I'm not saying it's not fucking fishy, but I'm trying to look at both sides of it, and I can definitely see something like playing out. Because if you have a really mentally ill person like that, that's that fucking cuckoo. Like, have you ever interacted with like a homeless person like that? Like, that's kind of. I have a guy that used to come into work all the time that was homeless, and we would have these conversations, and it would, you know, he was in a different reality. It's hard to describe. Like, you know, he just did shit that was off and different and strange. And it's kind of like what this guy was doing, right? Like, saying like, I'm tired and I want to lay down. I have stuff in a backpack downstairs. Like, just very calmly, but doing crazy. You have crazy shit. Just broke into your house with a fucking hammer. But he's calm. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I can see that.
I can see it. You know what I mean? So
unlikely.
And the reason that I'm more likely to believe that scenario is because of what this guy said in his own words during the court proceedings. You know,
let me make a new session real quick, and we'll wrap up.
All right. Hit recording. But yeah, like I was saying, just the actual what he said after the fact. Let me find what he said. That leads me to believe that this is probably a crazy person.
Oh,
yeah, he said he forced his way into the Pelosi home, intending to take the person third in line to the presidency of the United States hostage and to seriously harm her. Thwarted by her absence, he continued on his quest and would not be stopped, culminating on the near fatal attacks. According to the filing, DePape told police officers, blah, blah, blah. He was sick of the lies coming out of Washington, D.C. He said, I didn't really want to hurt him, but this was a suicide mission. I'm not going to stand here and do nothing, even if it costs me my life.
Yeah.
Yeah. If Nancy were to tell him the truth, he would let her go. And if she lied, he was going to break her kneecaps. That's what he said. He explained that by breaking her kneecaps, she would then have to be wheeled into Congress, which would show other members of Congress that there were consequences to actions. So he was a fucking psychopath.
Yeah, I have this article pulled up. Let's look at it. Because what's interesting is that he had his own blog, but the FBI, according to this article from CNN, couldn't prove that he wrote it. But a lot of the narrative is that he wrote it. No one's really talking about it could prove he wrote it. And now it's all gone. So he was posting conspiracy theories and memes on Facebook about COVID vaccines, the 2020 election, January 6, 2021 attack on the Capitol.
It's the normal group, right?
Yeah. And an acquaintance told CNN that he seemed out of touch, an unnamed acquaintance. David DePape, 42, was identified by police Friday as the suspect. 3 of DePape's relatives told CNN that DePape had been estranged from his family for years and confirmed that the Facebook account, which was taken down by the social media company on Friday, belonged to him. His stepfather, Gene DePape, said David grew up in Powell River, British Columbia, and left Canada about 20 years ago to pursue a relationship that brought him to California. Side note, very interesting how none of these super wacky right-wingers really come from the South, right? So like, why does the South still have this bad name? They're all coming from the most liberal places ever. So
that's a good point. That's a good point.
Yeah, enough
attack on the South, man. Leave us the fuck alone.
Leave us the fuck alone, dude. It's so crazy because I live in a liberal place and people I know talk about that, and it's like, don't you realize
dumb
that
Southerners?
Yeah, all this wacky shit happens here, motherfucker.
It's pretty normal where we live down here, dipshits. Anyway.
They're not making news. Maybe Stephen Paddock, but...
One dude like years ago that lost his mind in a movie theater. Anyway.
Yeah, I mean, it does happen in the South, but it mostly happens everywhere else. So... A 2013 article in the San Francisco Chronicle identified him as a hemp jewelry maker and said that he lived with the nudist activists. 2013, the San Francisco Chronicle wrote about David DePape? How long has this guy been in? You know what I'm saying? Like, how long has this guy been out there?
That's a good point.
It's almost like MK Ultra stuff where they're just like programming this dude over years and years and years. And he happens to break in when Nancy Pelosi isn't there and there's no security and they missed it on the camera. I mean, what are the fucking odds? If he's so after anyway, what the fuck? So he was fully clothed at a nude wedding and he was a nudist activist, but he didn't go naked.
This is fucking weird.
Oh man, Linda Schneider, a California resident, told CNN she got to know DePape roughly 8 years ago and that he occasionally house sat for her. When they met, she said DePape was living in a storage unit in the Berkeley area and told her he had been struggling with hard drugs but was trying to create a new life for himself. Okay, so it's not...
He's a drug addict, nudist.
Yeah, it's not the conspiracies that make people go crazy. This is like... It's the fucking drug problem. It's a big pharma. It's a mental health. She said that he was extremely shy. He couldn't even go and have a bank account because he was terrified of speaking to a teller. Schneider later received really disturbing emails from DePape in which he sounded like a megalomaniac and so out of touch with reality. She said she stopped communicating with him because it seemed so dangerous, adding that she recalled him using biblical justification to do harm.
Wow.
DePape's social media presence similarly paints a picture of someone on a worrying trajectory, falling into conspiracy theories in recent years. Nothing to do with the drugs in the past and just being crazy.
But the conspiracy theories are the problem.
Yeah. It's paying attention to politics and having questions. That's the problem. Last year, David DePape posted links on his Facebook page to multiple videos produced by MyPillow CEO Mike Lindell. Remember we covered that guy? Falsely alleging that the 2020 election was stolen. Falsely alleging. That's conditioning your mind.
Right.
Other posts included transphobic images and linked to websites claiming COVID vaccines were deadly. They're not deadly. Myocarditis. How about Bob Saget passing out and hitting his head and dying out of nowhere? No explanation. He just fucking passed out. The death rates being promoted are whatever they want to be promoted as the death rate. One poster read. DePape also posted links to YouTube videos with titles like Democrat Farce Commission to Investigate January 6th Capitol Riot Collapses in Congress and Global Elites Plan to Take Control of Your Money revealed. 2 days after former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin was found guilty of killing George Floyd, DePape wrote that the trial was a modern lynching, falsely indicating that Floyd died of a drug overdose.
Didn't Kanye say that recently?
Yeah. And here's the next big one. He also posted content about the Great Reset, an actual thing you can find documents on. Like the UN talks about this, like on their website.
I like how they say that it's a sprawling conspiracy theory. Like, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, it's the fucking UN, bitch. The sprawling conspiracy that global elites are using coronavirus to usher in a new world order in which they gain more power and oppress the masses.
There's literally a book There's a book called The Great Reset by Klaus Schwab.
Yeah.
What are you fucking talking about?
Yeah, dude. And he complained that politicians making promises to try to win votes are offering you bribes in exchange for your further enslavement. Most of the public posts.
So he's right about some things.
Yeah. Yeah. And like, even if he's not, it's a,
he's a crazy person though.
Yeah. In earlier years, DePape also posted long screeds about religion, including claims that Jesus is the Antichrist. None of the public posts appear to mention Pelosi. Blogs show images of Pelosi, QAnon, and anti-Semitism. In a string of posts on a WordPress blog over the course of several days in August 2022, the author complained about big tech censorship and posted statements like Hitlery did nothing wrong. And the name was David DePape, username. It's been since taken offline. Interesting. You can't go see it anymore. Wow. Another blog also attributed to David DePape featured anti-Semitic screeds and content linked to the QAnon conspiracy theory. One video posted on the site includes a shot of Pelosi swinging a gavel during one of President Trump's impeachments, and another video includes the image of Pelosi and other politicians. Third video includes a clip of Pelosi speaking on the House floor. Other posts from the last few weeks featured videos accusing LGBTQ people of grooming children and declared that any journalist saying there is no evidence of election fraud should be dragged straight out into the street and shot.
I like how in red you have CNN was not able to confirm the two blogs were written by DePape.
Oh,
so that's
CNN, not the FBI.
usually indicative of, I don't know, that's probably a plant, if I had to guess.
Yeah. Yeah, so
in my conspiratorial mind, I'm like,
and you can go back on our
verify that
episodes. You can listen to us talk about how everything that they use to smear the next conspiracy, I guess, like there really are questions about the vaccine. There really are questions about elections in general. We can watch videos of the Democrats questioning the election integrity up until they won. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just so obviously, not saying a false flag, but it's so obviously an attempt to
adjust the narrative of this particular attack into a particular political direction, and to seize the timing of this event to where it really bolsters the Democrats' chances in this midterm.
Yeah, because
if they're able to put all the right things in order, right? That this person was a far right wing conspiracy theorist that believed into all these lies that the right wing pundits are putting out into the world.
Yeah.
Make sure you don't propagate this and vote blue on Tuesday. 8th.
Yeah, I see people right now being proud they voted blue all across the board. It's
yep. And look, the bad thing is, like, it's not like the Republicans have strong candidates to vote for in the midterms anyway. It's like
neither one of them. Vote third party is the point.
You're right. Vote third party, because this is a bullshit election cycle. Like,
yeah, because like if I talk about,
like, you get to choose from Fetterman or Dr. Oz, get the fuck out of here, man. Like, that's not a choice. That's bullshit. You get to choose from Herschel Walker or Stacey Abrams. No, go fuck yourself. Like, Crystal, I was listening to Crystal and Sagar's show, and she made that point as well. Like, and they don't look at it from a conspiracy standpoint at all, but like just from a practical political standpoint, like, it's a choice between macro or micro, right? Like, did you either choose, like, everyone's fed up with the economy, with inflation, with these free speech issues at a macro level, right? From the federal government side of things. But when you look at the individual candidates themselves, a lot of people would prefer their Democratic candidates over the Republican ones. So it's like, do you choose the candidate over the party, or the party over the candidate? And that's where the two-party system is stuck at. Or do you do what you and I are saying and say, fuck both of those parties and both of those options and vote third party? And I say vote third party. Fuck the Republican and Democratic parties.
I mean, you got the most that you could ask for: the Democratic president with the woman of color vice president, and nothing happened. I actually predicted this with the friend that I was talking about. I was like, dude, Biden's going to get in office.
Nothing happened.
He's not going to do anything for marijuana. He did pardon people in prison for misdemeanor, and someone posted a fact check on it and said there's actually 0 people in prison for petty misdemeanors on marijuana.
Yeah, I saw that.
So he's not doing anything for that. I even predicted to this friend that just war is going to get worse. Like, they're not anti-war. They don't give a fuck.
It's getting worse.
And it's getting worse. It's like clockwork. So they got the most they could ask for: a Democratic president that everyone loves and a colored woman vice president. And nothing's better. But they're still like, vote blue, vote blue, vote blue. I'm not saying vote red. I'm just saying pull your head out of your fucking ass.
Yeah, exactly. Pull your head out of your ass. Stop voting a party. How about that?
They're not even paying attention or looking into it, or like looking at their platforms. They're just like blue, 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 blue. Yes, we did the right thing. It's so wild, because I'm the bag. If I bring up talking about the election, if I want to, and again, in 2016, all of our favorite Democrats were questioning election results and saying if Trump wins, we won't trust it, and you can't trust Dominion. So, like, it's not far right conspiracy theorists that are skeptical of Dominion voting and it's the very Democrats that are now
in power.
Yeah, that were skeptical, and I could show you the fucking video right now. If I bring up election, if I bring up COVID, the vaccines, if I bring up any of this, if I bring up Epstein, facts, the Nexium Alimac sex cult, like, there's so many actual facts of of child pedophilia and these rings. But if you bring it up, you're a
crazy
right-wing
person.
conspiracy theorist, and it's because of this DePape type stuff and Stephen Paddock. And every time somebody comes out and does one of these things, the whole narrative is not the medications that they're on. The whole it's none of that. Their mental health.
Dangerous conspiracies.
It's dangerous conspiracies.
Dangerous
threats to
conspiracy.
democracy.
Anything that goes against what the official narrative of the mainstream media is a dangerous conspiracy. It cannot be trusted and can lead to violence like this situation.
And as we covered earlier, that's all tools of the U.S. State Department and the CIA, Twitter, Facebook, anybody that's sponsored by Big Pharma and Pfizer and the military industrial complex, CNN, Fox News even. Those are all propaganda arms. I don't know how to explain the fucking obvious anymore. You know what I'm saying?
Well, we just keep doing it every week on this podcast. How about that?
And I'll post up these clips and we'll get our channel flagged.
Yeah.
So,
well, let's wrap up.
Do you want to talk about any fight news?
Really the only they had the Jake Paul Anderson Silva fight. Disappointing.
Yeah, I'm sick of this Jake Paul fucker.
Yeah, me too. The knockdown, I saw some video online. Do you think it was rigged? Do you think that was legit?
It's not rigged, man.
I didn't think it was rigged either. But my friend Jeff, who watched it with me, he's like, "This shit's rigged. You saw he didn't even hit him." I was like, I think he just went off balance.
No, he got caught. He got punched in the face and he went down.
Well, the video, there is a video circulating online.
I know there's one video where it appears he didn't get hit, but every other video he got hit. It happens sometimes. It happens in UFC fights. It happens in boxing fights. There was a boxing fight recently.
I agree with you.
Sometimes it doesn't look like much happened.
I agree.
Like when
well, he was trying. This is the same guy who was trying to tell me that the time on Woodley fight was rigged. I was like, dude, did you see how hard he got fucking hit and knocked out? Like that dude didn't fake that. Like he got knocked the fuck. Well, what are you fucking talking about?
Doesn't pay attention.
No, they don't watch. They don't watch fighting. He doesn't watch fighting like I do, or you do.
A Tyron Woodley or Anderson Silva, regardless of the way the punch looked, these guys are not going to go in there and either one take the punch on purpose or do a masterclass acting clinic on how to act like you just got knocked out. They're not going to go in there after their whole legacy. And because also if you lose, you don't get paid as much. So why would you go in there and get paid a loser's pay and ruin your whole legacy and be the laughing stock for a fucking YouTuber? It doesn't make
agree.
So stupid.
But everyone, I don't have any friends that watch fights with me. So everyone I bring this shit up with is like, they're like, this shit's rigged. Like,
yeah, my friend too. Like they're so dumb. I have a buddy. It wasn't rigged. Like when Nate Diaz and the Khamzat Chimaev stuff popped off backstage. Yeah, he was like, you don't think some of that stuff is fake? And I was like,
no,
out of here, man. Anyway, I'm getting irritated thinking about some of my peers that irritate the fuck out of me.
No, I'm with you. Like it's annoying to watch fights with casuals.
Yeah,
really
I was watching when Tony fought Charles Oliveira like a couple Decembers ago. There was just casuals in the room asking dumb questions. Like
it's annoying, isn't it?
Why doesn't he just hit him?
Oh my god!
You don't think he wants to? And like I even talked about Mackenzie Dern, like she had a baby, she was out for a year, and she came back and she's still kicking ass, and she like was pregnant, had a baby, and one of the girls was like, yeah, well that's nature, women have babies. It's like you don't fucking understand when you have a baby and you're out of training for a year and a half and you come back to continue kicking ass against people who were not off.
That's insane.
Ugh.
Anyway, so the fights that we didn't get a chance to talk about is the Oliveira Makhachev. How about that? Islam versus Oliveira.
I think Islam.
That dude is.
I don't want to see Dustin fight him. I don't want to see. And I hope Dustin beats Chandler. Chandler's got that explosive.
That could be just a wild ride, real quick, man. Chandler is very explosive,
but he barely beat Justin.
But it goes one way or the other with Chandler, right? Like. He's either going to get the fucking knocked out or choked out, or he's going to knock you out. He's going to knock you out. He's not going to choke you out.
I mean, Dustin's going to take a shot, but he took Connor's best shots in 2 fights and never went down. Like, Connor never even put Poirier on his butt. You know what I'm saying? So Chandler's going to come in there with this fucking explosive one-punch knockout bullshit, and Dustin's going to be like, bah, 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 bah,
Dustin's skilled, man. He's a skilled boxer.
Can't wait for that fight.
What about this whole Volkanovski going up? Like, why is he doing that? He's gonna ruin his fucking win streak. The dude could beat, he could beat, and he's got the longest running win streak in the UFC right now. He could beat Anderson's win streak if he just keeps going in his weight class. But he wants to go up and get that double champ status.
I'm tired.
But I think Islam
is one of these cringy dudes I get aggravated watching.
I'm
the best in the world. I'm here to prove it all. And he does the fucking belt thing. Dude, Aljamain Sterling's post-fight press conference. Anaconda backpack. If I take you down, that's a wrap. Please retire. You know what I'm saying?
He's fucking saying he's got to take a year off before he fights again.
What were you saying about what can I cut you off with that?
No, I was just saying, like, he's gonna fucking, if I were him, just stay in your fucking weight class, man, and get your win streak, get your title reign up a little bit, solidify your legacy. But no, you're gonna go up and fight Islam. I think Islam's gonna ragdoll his ass.
Yeah.
Ground and pound him and choke him out. Or whatever. Do the same shit Izzy did and go up and ruin your win streak.
What do you think about Izzy versus Pereira? That's an interesting fight.
It's interesting, man. I don't know if Pereira got too much hype on him, man. He's only had like 4 fights in the fucking UFC, dude.
Do you know his background though?
Yeah. Fucking, I went and watched some of his kickboxing match. He's a fucking beast.
You know, no doubt. Out Adesanya, right?
I know. I watched the fight. Okay. I watched the fight between the two.
I actually think this fight has the most hype around it that Izzy's been involved with in a while.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he's in real danger. Dude's been knocked out with him before. And you know that's sitting in the back of Izzy's head, you know?
Yeah. And Izzy's not going to wrestle offensively. So that's what I want. I want to see how the grappling takes place because Izzy's going to have to utilize something. And I think Izzy's going to push him against the cage and use the advantage of how the clinch does not get broken up in MMA like it does in kickboxing, you know? So he might have more
dirty boxing and...
Because he has good wrestling defense, but neither one of them is going to shoot for a takedown and do it offensively. So
I don't. It'd be crazy. The first round, first thing one of them does is shoot for a takedown. We'd both be like, "What the fuck is this?"
That would suck to see a grappling match between 2 of the best kickboxers in the world.
That would be horrible.
And it really upsets me that Jake Paul is he's a good boxer. And I honestly feel like Anderson, having all this striking experience over the years, should have
beat him. Like, should have beat a decision. I felt
it sucks that MMA's striking GOAT lost to a fucking YouTuber.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
I really need somebody to explain that to me. It's like, fuck, dude, fuck. Because there's so many boxers out there that already hate MMA because they can't box. It's like, you know, fucking come to MMA. How many boxers have come to MMA? How many boxers have come to MMA? 0.
Fucking none.
How many MMA go to boxing? A lot, because it's
all of them.
You got pillows on your hand and it's just right, left, and it's like, okay, why not go fuck around? I mean, I'm talking shit. I don't fight, but I'm saying it just sucks, man. It sucks.
Yeah, it does suck.
How do you explain that shit?
Well, anyway, yeah.
Oh, and real quick, Jake Paul, don't forget the bet. He said, "If
fighters
union." No. Hear me out. He said, "If I win,
I gotta fight MMA.
I'll fight." But Anderson said, "I don't do MMA." So he said, "Okay, I'll fight you in a kickboxing match if I win. If you win, we'll do the union." Jake Paul won, and I was like, "Oh, they're gonna do the kickboxing."
You have that backwards. Jake Paul said, "If you win, I'll fight you in an MMA fight," and then Anderson was like,
No.
I'm 100% positive about this.
Why would he fight him in an MMA fight if Anderson win? There's no point because he won. He's given him 100.
I'm 100% positive about this.
I'm 100% positive. Jake
right,
Paul's
we'll see whose memory's better.
The whole point of him giving him an opportunity is because he won. Okay, I got it right here. Let's watch it.
Or
I have a bet.
You do?
I have a bet.
Wow. Who's
I have a bet for you, Anderson.
For Anderson, okay.
All right. It's a good one. It's a good one. No. All right. So look, if you win, I'll give you something that you probably want.
Okay, you start again. No tattoos.
No.
No tattoos.
No, if you win, I will fight you in an MMA fight.
Okay.
Boom.
Whoa.
Wow.
You're so smart because I know fight MMA.
Okay, interesting.
Told you.
Yeah.
So the Fighters Alliance is what they're going to start. That
Okay.
Fighters Union.
Interesting.
Just cool.
Interesting. This still sucks that he won, though, man. What the fuck?
I know. Fucking sucks.
Anyway. All right,
bro.
Fun episode, man.
Fine. I had a lot of catching up to do. So I'm glad we did a little long one like this. It was cool.
Yeah. In the next episode, we're gonna be doing
some more Denisovan origins.
Yeah, we're gonna be talking about some shit. So.
Tell me which chapter so I can make sure I can re-go through them again, because I read through 6, a good bit. Okay, 6, 7, 8. All right.
Yeah.
So I'll read through them this week.
Check it out right here.
This show. And if you stuck around this long, thanks, guys.
Yeah, shout out.
And seeing y'all later next week.
All right, have a good week, man.
You too, bro.
Peace.